Hello and welcome to Talking with T. I am your host, Tenika, aka TekaBella.
What up, world? It's your girl, MCT Latrice.
Yay! And we are happy to be here today for our first podcast episode pilot, right?
Yes!
Look, so it's been a long time coming, right?
Yes, it has.
I know. We have to share our stories about how we came together and individually.
Yes.
Okay, so where should we start?
I'll start. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, me too.
This has been a long journey to get to this place at the Ohio Media School.
Yes.
That's where we currently are. And should we talk about how we met, or should we just talk about our journey?
I think that you should talk about your journey first, so then we can tie it into how we met, because maybe then we can see how we got here.
So, like, really, our story?
Yeah, your story, your real, true story. Yes.
So, your girl MCT Latrice. My name is Tawanna.
Yeah, just like my sister. We'll talk about that.
Yes. So, and I am from Toledo, currently residing in Columbus, Ohio. And the way that I got here, I've always wanted to be, I used to want to be a rapper. I used to want to be a dancer, but I knew I always wanted to use my voice.
Okay.
I feel like I've always had a different voice. My voice has always been pretty strong and unique. I didn't know how to use it. I come from really humble beginnings. I was raised by my grandmother, myself and my two brothers. Our mother, she lived in Chicago. She probably moved there when we were about 6 years old. I was about 6 years old. And I guess being honest and just being truthful, it might not be the normal truth that everybody expects to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother, she raised us, my two brothers and I. She did the best she could. We came from a loving home. However, I would say around 9 years old, 8 years old, whenever a crack hit, just being blunt and honest, she became addicted to it. And
Was this your grandmother?
Yes, my grandmother.
Okay.
So my grandmother. My mother was in Chicago. She was addicted to heroin. And we were raised nice home until crack hit, and then we ended up in the projects, and that's when life changed. So that's when I used to escape to this world of being a dancer, a rapper. That was my escape.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when there was no attention in the home, I started stealing cars. I started having sex at a young age. By the time I was 17, I had 2 children. By the time I was 19, I had 3 children. And by the time I was 21, I had 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a mother of 6. Man, love my children so much.
I know, I can tell.
And my whole mission after having them, so let me go back. By the time I was 21, I was in prison. I did 4 years in prison, and it changed my life. Before I went to prison, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I didn't know who I was, because there was no one paying me any attention at home. No one saying, hey, Tawanna, do this, do that. I was just out there. And so when I went into prison, the women there, they embraced me, and they raised me, and they showed me what being a woman was.
Okay.
And so a part of that is the reason why I'm sitting here. That was the place that I did my first speaking engagement.
Oh, wow.
We were able to, allowed to go to schools and speak. I was in a program, and that's when I found my voice, and I realized I had a gift. However, I ran from that gift up until I started school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to speak. I was afraid to speak because I was drinking and smoking weed, and I felt like a hypocrite. So by the grace of God, since December, I would stop off and on because I didn't want to speak, because I felt like a hypocrite. So I'm done with that. No more drinking or smoking because I wanted to step into my gift. I heard God's voice loud and clear say, T, you have a gift and I need you to step into it. And so through all of that, you know, we'll dive deep into that later on, but just to give you guys a background, I never gave up hope. You know, my mother and my grandmother, they're gone now. They're no longer here. But I wanted to break the cycle off of my family and our life. And I did that. My children are doing excellent. I'm doing excellent as a mother. And I've broken the cycle off of my family. So I'm just proud to be here talking with T. Because we have a lot of tea to share. And we will be filling your cup with a lot of tea until it overflows and spills out with nothing but love and happiness. So I know that was a little heavy to start off, but we got to tell you who we are so that we can show you where we're going.
That's right. I love that.
So thank you.
So talking about heavy. Okay, so my story is similar and heavy as well. So my grandmother raised me as well. My mama was 15 years old when she got pregnant with me and had me when she was 16. And so when she had me, she didn't want me. And so my grandmother had to step in to help raise me. You know, she was immature. She was 16. She didn't know, you know. And she was a spoiled, the only girl. And so she didn't want anybody coming in and stealing her shine, you know. Okay. And so she raised me, and my mom had some mental health issues. Okay. But I didn't know this until I was well into my adulthood, you know, until I was like in my late 30s probably, you know. And so growing up, it was tough. Like, she was abusive, you know. It was me and my 3 other sisters. So there was no positivity flowing around, you know. There was a lot of anger. We were impoverished, so she was struggling to make ends meet, and then, you know, dating, trying to make that thing work out. It was just tough being a single mother, you know. Yes. And on top of the mental illness, so we got a lot of backlash, a lot of abuse, verbally, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so that kind of spilled over into my adulthood. Okay, so when I was 19 years old, I had my first son, and I was married at the same time, but to an alcoholic, womanizing abuser, you know. So by the time I was 21, I had 3 kids, 3 sons, and they were just months apart, kind of, a couple of them anyway, you know. So that right there, it broke me down. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my worth. I didn't know value. I didn't know anything about having great self-esteem because that wasn't poured into. You know, my granny loved me and she did the best she could, but still, you know, just hearing negativity from my mom and the stuff that she did, it just really, you know, it tore me down. Yeah. So, going through several different other abusive relationships, because that's all I was accustomed to, because I've seen that type of thing happen to her as well. It wasn't until probably about 2006 or 7 where I said, you know what, I need to start working on myself, you know, start to build myself up, start to speak positivity over myself, affirmations, that kind of thing. And so I ended up getting a job in the mental health field. And there I learned a lot about mental illnesses and diagnoses and stuff like that, you know, so that kind of helped me learn about some of the things that I can, you know, I could put a picture to it or face to it or something, you know, because I was like, who else is going through this, you know? Yeah. So moving forward, I was in that field like since I was 19 years old, trying to raise my kids with the abuser, and was with him for 7 years. Moving fast forward to meeting my husband in 2008. I was just starting to flourish, I guess, you know, and find my voice as well. So there was this one incident where I ended up having to speak with this one girl who had been, I spoke my story on Facebook. I don't know why I was like, God let me to do that, because he said it was going, because who wants to put that on Facebook? Right. Who wants to do that? So I talked about my abuse story on Facebook, and it like opened the door for a lot of women like inboxing me like, oh my God, I have the same story, you know, and they could relate to what I was going through. And then so I did this one engagement regarding domestic violence, you know. And I've always had this spirit, once I found my voice of trying to uplift myself, I wanted to just do the same for other women, you know, and bring them on board. So I've always, since finding my voice, had a spirit of encouragement and motivation for other people. And so that's how I got here, to want to help inspire and move people forward. So.
Can I give you a hug?
I know, I need a hug. Thank you.
Listen, so this is like unscripted.
Right.
I'm just now hearing your story because I haven't heard your story. I've never heard your story. And I'm just so proud of you.
I appreciate that. I'm proud of you too. Look at us. testimony is your story. Your trials are your story to help encourage and motivate somebody
Yes.
else. And I do believe that's why we're here.
And this is what our podcast is about.
Absolutely.
Uplifting others, pouring the tea into our cup overflows.
Yes.
So that it can overflow for others.
Yes, right.
Because
That's
life
what people
is about.
need.
That's-
You
yes.
help other people so they can be better too. And I love it when you said that you have to be filled up so you can have that extra to give to somebody else. You know what I mean? So I
Yes.
took that with me and I held on to that. I was like, girl, you got to stay full of yourself so you don't be
Yes.
on empty by the end of the day.
So
Now we talk
Talk
about how
about
we met.
yes, let's talk about how we met.
Yeah, I'll let you tell the story.
So it was either this. So we're in the studio right now, guys.
Yeah.
Either this studio or the studio next door. There's studios all through the school. So we're at the Ohio Media School, and this is how Tika and I met. I was coming out of a studio and she was going in one, and when I saw her, I was like,
I know.
"Hi." I
I
said, "Who are you?" Like, I thought she was somebody famous from the radio station or
felt the
something.
same about her.
I was like, "You look like somebody from the, are you?" Hi. She was like, "Are you?" I'm like, "No." She's a student, I'm a student, but we both saw that.
In each other.
Yes.
Right away.
And it
Yeah.
was powerful.
It was, yeah.
And we kind of connected from that point.
Yes, and then but when we sat down to share our story, like my sister's name was Tawanna, right? And it's spelled with two N's, right? Just like
Yes.
yours, right? So we bonded over that. And then I was like, when my sister was 29, I have to tell y'all about that story later. But she was 29 when she lost her life, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's my saying. I'm forever 29."
Yeah, 29 for life.
for life,
Because my
right?
birthday is September 29th.
Right.
And so I always say I'm 29 for life. So when she told me that,
yeah.
that was another bonding moment that neither one of us expected. It was
Right.
just like, what?
Exactly. And then some similar stories as well, you know, just along the way. And so I think we found inspiration just from each other, and the chemistry, the vibe, the spirituality, I think it just all kind of just tied into one nice
Yes.
little ribbon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tika, because how long had you been in Ohio before you started school?
Oh yes, I hadn't even been here a month. So we moved here like January, right? And so I was riding down the highway and I heard Ohio Media School on the radio and advertisement. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds just like what I want to get into. Because I had quit my job and I was looking to do something in videography. I didn't know, you know, I'll tell you all about that later. But and then I came here right away and fell in love. Like, oh my God, like I didn't even know something like this existed. I just really didn't, because back home in Greensboro, it's not that it didn't exist there, I just wasn't exposed to it. And I just feel like it's probably all about timing and God's perfect plan for, you know, the way you need to move.
Yes. So here we are, two people who love to pour into other people, because as Tika said, I'm one of those people. I've always poured into other people.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I was pouring into other people when I didn't have anything left in my cup.
Me too, yes.
Right? So our podcast is all about filling your cup until it's overflowing so that you have something to give to other people, because you really can't, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, we did it. But we were depleted at the end of the day. You're depleted. You have nothing left to give because you've given it all away.
Absolutely. It's like when you're flying on a plane and they say, help yourself first so you can help somebody else, you know, with a mask if you have those issues. So you definitely got to be ready to be able to give to somebody else, you know, and you got to do the work. And it takes work, and it's every day that you're working on being a better person and getting rid of the traumas and stuff that has held you back for so long. Yeah.
Because I will say this, you should never stop learning, or you should never want to stop learning, because when you do, then I think it's your time, because life is a journey and it's all about learning. And prayerfully we can teach.
Absolutely.
Because of our experiences, not just talking to be talking.
I believe that.
It's been a journey.
Yeah, and I believe that it's God's plan for us, because you remember I was telling you about the plane ride that I had. I'm always nervous about getting on planes, like extremely nervous. So, and I say my best prayers when I'm on a plane. Right? I just feel like connected to God while I'm up in the air even more. But he spoke to me and he said, how are you going to travel and speak to people if you're afraid to fly? And I heard that loud and clear. And I asked my husband about it the other day. I said, do you remember me telling you that? He was like, yep. So he remembered it too, you know. But it's just like, I had no plans on really traveling to speak to people, but you just never know what God has for you.
Yes.
And I believe that's in the plans because he said it.
Well,
okay.
that is my dream.
Okay.
I wrote that about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
That I want to speak and travel all over the world speaking.
Wow.
And get paid for it.
Okay.
You know, I've been doing it for free. I'm a hairstylist.
Yeah.
So behind the chair, I'm always speaking to somebody, pouring life into them. And it's so fulfilling. I love it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I forget to get paid. They're like, well, Tawanna, I just did. Oh, because it's so fulfilling, you know?
Yes.
And so this is God's plan for us. And we're doing what we're supposed to do. So that's why Talking with T is our baby.
Yes.
And we are going to fill your cups every single time you come and tune in to us.
Yes.
So what will we be filling our cups with?
Oh my God, with just positivity, with love, with joy, with kindness, ways to work out traumas and speaking on forgiveness and prosperity, wisdom. We're trying to grow, so we just want to help other women that look like us and other people, you know, just really have a better life. And so we can do that together.
Yes. And so, and I'm going to touch on that because we did start out, we wanted to touch women.
Right, yeah.
But then, you know, when I think about it, it's like everybody has a soul.
Yeah.
A spirit, right? And you just never know who needs to hear it. And so it's like, why put ourselves in a box?
I love that, and I'm glad that you really opened my eyes today, because at first I'm like, and that's been my thought process all along the way, help women that look like me, help women, help women. But you know what, like you said, everybody can use a little help.
Yes.
Okay, and if a man or woman or child or whatever can get inspiration from it, then we did our jobs.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
So this is for everybody.
Everybody.
You, and you. I'm so excited. Listen.
Me too, yeah.
So it amazes me that all these years of my life, I knew I was going somewhere, but I just didn't know where. I've been preparing myself, and I just didn't know how, because we were separately going to do our own podcast.
This is true. Yes, we already had our whole little thing set up. Like, we're gonna do this. But the thing we struggled with the most was what would we talk about? Like, how would we keep people engaged or whatever?
Because it's just you.
It's
talking,
just you.
And
yeah,
it's just me talking.
Right.
And then when we sat down and we were like, wait a minute. You're looking for what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what you're looking for. Let's do it together. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And so, Talking with T, I had started. That was what it was going to be. Mm-hmm. Talking with T alone. Her name is Tika with T-E. Is it T-E-A?
Yeah, T-E-K-A. Tika.
So,
my real name is Tenika. Yeah.
And Tawanna.
Yeah, Tika and Tawanna. And it just
MC
even saying Tika and Tawanna reminds me of me and my sister. You know, growing up and everything. But yeah.
Talking with T.
Talking with T.
So that's what you can expect. Nothing but greatness from us. Positivity,
sisterhood, love, joy, yes, all of that,
and overcoming hard times.
Yeah,
to get to the good times.
Because I know we got some stories about some hard times, right?
Yes, and we are going to dig down deep.
Right, and you think about it, like, if we can get through some of the stuff we've been through. Look at my phone. Then surely you can too, you know. So
yeah, because we've gotten through it, and that's the only way we're able to stand here and talk.
Absolutely,
talk.
Yeah.
We had to do the work.
We had to, yeah.
So cheers to our first conversation.
Yeah, and it's gonna be so many more great ones to come. Oh my
So
God, I got chills. I can't wait.
So looking forward to it. So cheers, you guys. From now on, when we sit down, you grab your cup, you grab your tea, you fill it up, and get ready for Talking with T. With T and Tawanna. MCT Latrice.
Okay, and TekaBella. I love
From
it.
now on, we will not be using those names. MCT Latrice and
TekaBella. Yeah, I love it.
Two beautiful women who have come through the storm. That cocoon.
Oh.
From that cocoon.
Now turn into butterflies. That's
yes.
it. Yes.
So thank you guys for joining us. It's your girl MCT Latrice.
And I'm TekaBella.
And always remember to keep filling your cup
until it overflows.